When life takes away your motivation, it is to test your rowing skills. Robert Breault. There are days when we wake up and no longer feel the fire burning brightly within us. Goals that once made our hearts race suddenly seem so far away. The work that once brought joy is now just a series of repetitive duties. Many think this is a sign of failure, that their motivation has abandoned them. But perhaps life is quietly sending a much deeper lesson. If a boat only moves when there is wind, it will forever remain a toy of the weather. Only when the wind dies down does the sailor reveal their true skill. It is the steady rhythm of the oars upon a still sea or against a strong current that decides whether the boat will reach the shore. Life is no different. On days filled with inspiration, anyone can work hard, be persistent, and stay optimistic. But a person's true value is not measured by what they do when everything goes smoothly, but by how they keep moving forward when inspiration fades, when faith is tested, and when the results are still out of reach. Motivation is a gift, but discipline is a choice. Inspiration is like the dawn beautiful, but it doesn't last forever. If we live solely on emotions, we will move forward and then halt, like waves endlessly crashing against the shore without ever crossing the ocean. In contrast, a disciplined person is like a river, through rain or shine, past massive rocks or deep abysses. The water quietly flows toward the sea. It is this sheer persistence that creates the power to erode even the most seemingly unyielding stones. Some challenges do not appear to defeat you, but to separate you from the weaker version of yourself. A blacksmith doesn't put steel into the fire out of hatred, but because he knows that only through red-hot flames and relentless hammer strikes can it become a sharp blade. Life doesn't strip away your enthusiasm to make you quit, but to see if you are pursuing your goal out of a fleeting emotion, or for an ideal great enough to keep you going, even when it's no longer easy. The miracle is that after every seemingly barren phase, people often discover a newfound source of strength. They no longer rely on the winds of inspiration. Instead, they learn to generate momentum from their own sheer will. At that point, they become not only more mature, but also more free, because they understand that while circumstances may change and emotions may fluctuate, determination remains a choice they have the power to make. If one day you feel your motivation has vanished, do not rush to think that life is turning its back on you. Perhaps life is simply placing the oars in your hands and waiting with a smile. For it is the windless stretches of the journey that teach a sailor how to master the ocean. And it is on the uninspired days that we forge the resilience needed to steadily sail toward the shores of our grandest dreams. Through hard work, perseverance, and a faith in God, you can live your dreams. Ben Carson. Some dreams are like mountain peaks veiled in mist. Standing at the foot of the mountain, one sees only distance and peril, while the summit seems to exist solely in the imagination. For this reason, many give up before taking their very first step. They do not fail for lack of ability, but because they let fear grow larger than their faith. Yet, the history of every success tells a profoundly different story. No path is paved with miracles, but rather with the relentless footsteps of hard work, perseverance, and unshakable faith. Hard work does not merely yield results, it quietly transforms the person. Every day you push a little harder. It is like a drop of water patiently falling upon a stone. A single drop cannot change anything, but millions of drops can carve out a canyon. Success is the same. It rarely appears overnight, but is forged through countless quiet days where no one applauds. No one acknowledges you. yet you still choose to move forward. Perseverance is the power that helps people walk right through the stormy seasons of life. A bamboo tree does not grow tall after a single rain. For years, its roots silently plunge deep into the earth, accumulating strength before it violently thrusts itself toward the sky. Humans, too, need those seemingly slow, stagnant periods. Failures, rejections, and stumbles are not the end, but the roots silently growing to support the future. But effort alone is sometimes not enough for a person to overcome the darkest of times. There are moments when every door seems to close, all plans shatter, and all hope becomes fragile. In those exact moments, faith in God becomes the guiding light. Faith does not make all hardships vanish instantly, but it grants a person the peace not to collapse in the face of adversity, the courage to walk on when their legs are weary, and the hope to believe that every trial holds a greater meaning than the naked eye can see. A dream is not a gift reserved only for the lucky. It is the reward for those who dare to sow seeds with their sweat, nurture them with patience, and protect them with faith. When someone works with all their heart, tirelessly gets back up after every fall, and places their life in the hands of God, every passing day brings them closer to the impossible. Because, after all, the true miracle lies not in the dream becoming reality, but in the fact that the journey itself has transformed an ordinary person into the strongest, most mature, and most hopeful version of themselves. It was when I was happiest that I longed most. The sweetest thing in all my life has been the longing to find the place where all the beauty came from. C.S. Lewis. Many think happiness is the end of all desires, but in truth, the happiest people are often those who still know how to deeply long for more. When the heart is filled with genuine joy, it does not close itself off in complacency, but opens wider to the boundless beauty of life. Having touched the first rays of light, they realize all the more that behind that brilliance lies a much brighter sun waiting to be discovered. That is why it was when I was happiest that I longed most. People often confuse craving with longing. Desire always seeks to possess, while genuine longing is the soul's calling towards something higher and more beautiful than itself. Desire ends once it is acquired. The greater the longing, the more expansive the soul becomes. It is like a person standing before the ocean. The further they look, the more they realize the horizon is still out of reach, not because the ocean deceives them, but because its beauty is infinite. Likewise, the more a person experiences good things, the more they understand that life holds far deeper layers of meaning. People still think sweetness comes from possession, from attaining what one desires. But in reality, so much of the joy lies within the journey of the search itself. A seed does not rejoice simply because it has become an ancient tree. The magic lies in its relentless vitality to reach upward every single day. A ship is not built to sit idle in the harbor. Its value is forged by its journey through the waves. If life has nothing left to strive for, the soul will slowly dry up like a river that has lost its source. It is the longing that keeps a person youthful, hopeful, and always ready to take just one more step. Yet, humanity's greatest longing is not for money, fame, or applause. All those things are beautiful, but they are merely reflected rays of light. Every piece of beauty, a person can feel love, kindness, truth, hope, peace, is like a small stream quietly flowing back to the same source. When people stop only at the gifts, they will constantly fear losing them. But when they seek the one who is the source of all goodness, they discover a beauty entirely unbound by circumstance, time, or the shifting of the world. Perhaps that, too, is the most beautiful journey of a lifetime, not chasing after every flower along the road, but following the fragrance to find the very garden where all flowers are born, not forever chasing fragile sunbeams, but turning toward the sun, the source of all light. And when the heart finds that ultimate source, one will understand that true happiness does not lie in how much they have possessed, but in always knowing how to long for something greater, in continually walking toward the place where all beauty, all truth, and all love originate. The only sure way to avoid making mistakes is to have no new ideas. Albert Einstein. We fear being judged. We fear failure. We fear becoming the object of ridicule. Many choose absolute safety, repeating what others have done, thinking along beaten paths, and living strictly within their comfort zones. They believe this to be wise, but the price of never making a mistake is sometimes far greater than the mistakes themselves. It is losing the opportunity to discover oneself and to create something truly different. A new idea is like a seed planted in uncharted soil. No one can know for sure whether that seed will sprout into a lush green field or be washed away by the first rain of the season. But if no one dares to sow, there will never be a harvest. Every invention, every masterpiece, and every leap of mankind began with a thought once dismissed as naive, impractical, or overly audacious. What makes the difference is not the people who have never been wrong, but the ones who refuse to let a mistake become the end of the line. Mistakes are not the enemy of creativity. They are the silent teachers of wisdom. A blacksmith cannot forge a razor-sharp sword without first witnessing cracked steel in the fiery furnace. A sculptor cannot finish a flawless statue without first striking the stone from the wrong angle. Similarly, every time an idea falls short, it is an occasion where the mind is sharpened, the perspective broadened, and resilience matured. The greatest danger is not failing, but letting the fear of failure lock the doors of imagination. Life always favors those who dare to try over those who only dare to observe. A ship can only explore the ocean once it leaves the dock. A seed can only become a tree when it accepts the shattering of its own protective shell. We are no different. We only grow when we dare to step into the unknown, embrace the awkwardness of our first attempts, and patiently learn from every stumble. A mistake does not diminish the value of an idea. What renders an idea worthless is when it lies dormant in the mind, because its creator lacked the courage to bring it to life. The greatest tragedy is not a life full of unsuccessful attempts, but a life that remains overly perfect because it never dared to try anything new. Looking back, people rarely regret the failures that helped them grow. What haunts them the most are the dreams that were never started, the ideas never given a chance, and the doors never opened, all because of the fear of making a mistake. For ultimately, mistakes are the price of creativity, while stagnation is the toll of a life that did not dare to fulfill its true potential. Trying to get everyone to like you is a sign of mediocrity. Colin Powell. When you try to be everything to everyone, you ultimately stop being yourself. A person without a stance is like the surface of the water, blown in every direction by the wind. Every passing breeze shifts its shape, yet no wind ever leaves a lasting mark. Life is the same. If every decision depends on the approval of others, you will live by the world's expectations rather than your own values. The psychological need to be loved by everyone is entirely natural. Everyone longs for recognition, praise, and a sense of acceptance. But when that need becomes a life goal, it quietly morphs into an invisible cage, imprisoning the soul's freedom. You begin saying what others want to hear, rather than what you believe is true. You choose safe paths to avoid criticism, even if your heart constantly pulls you toward a different trail. Gradually, you are no longer living your own life. You are merely playing a role to appease the audience. The reality is, no human being is capable of fulfilling every single expectation. The sun brings light to the entire world, yet some will still complain about the heat. The rain nourishes the crops, yet it makes the traveler's journey arduous. The exact same event can bring joy to one and despair to another. If even nature cannot please everyone, why do we force ourselves to achieve the impossible? Those who create distinct value in life always accept that some will agree with them and others will fiercely oppose. The taller a tree grows, the fiercer the wind blows against it. The brighter a lighthouse shines, the more it exposes the surrounding darkness. Value does not lie in being universally liked, but in staying loyal to what is right and living in harmony with one's conscience. It is the clarity of one's principles that builds true character, whereas unconditional people-pleasing only creates a faded image, easily altered by circumstance. What is truly valuable is not striving to make everyone smile at you, but treating everyone with sincerity, respect, and kindness, while still preserving your own authentic identity. When a tree's roots run deep enough, it doesn't need to bow to every gust of wind just to survive. We are the same. When you clearly understand your own values, purposes, and principles in life, you will no longer be manipulated by applause or criticism. You will learn to accept that not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will agree with you, and that is perfectly normal. Because a meaningful life is not measured by the number of people pleased with you, but by how truthfully you lived according to the good values you believe in. I won't do anything half-hearted. When I walk, I will step strongly. When I fight, I will fight with a firm belief. When I speak, I will speak definitively. When I feel, I will feel completely. When I love, I will love with all my heart. Evan Tanner. There is a profound tragedy slowly becoming commonplace in modern life. People do so much, yet they live so little. We walk, but our minds are still trapped in yesterday or anxious about tomorrow. We listen without truly hearing. We love while still guarding an exit. We work, but only try hard enough to avoid reprimand. Life, as a result, becomes a chain of unfinished experiences, where everything exists but is rarely lived to the fullest. Superficiality does not merely degrade the quality of our work. It impoverishes the depth of our souls. A person who walks only with their feet will soon grow weary, but one who walks with their faith will turn every stretch of the road into a meaningful journey. To step strongly does not mean always being faster than others. It means refusing to let hesitation, fear, or negative voices make you falter. An ancient tree does not grow tall because of clear skies, but because of roots that stubbornly grip the earth through countless stormy seasons. We, too, grow through the decisiveness of every forward step, even when much of what lies ahead remains unseen. When I fight, I will fight with a firm belief. The greatest battles in a person's life all take place within their own mind. It is the battle between hope and despair, courage and fear, the will to rise and the urge to surrender. The victor is not the one who has never trembled with fear, but the one who continues to charge forward even when their heart is shaking. Belief is the flame that keeps the will from extinguishing amid the headwinds of life. Without belief, strength is quickly drained. But when belief remains, a person can always rise after every fall. When I speak, I will speak definitively. Words are the reflection of the inner self. A sincere soul needs no flowery words to mask uncertainty. Being definitive does not mean being rigid. It means daring to take responsibility for what you believe to be right. Those who constantly fear offending others often end up losing their own voice. Conversely, one who speaks with sincerity and integrity generates immense weight through the alignment of their words and actions. When I feel, I will feel completely. Life doesn't just need to be observed, it needs to be experienced. To the hurried passerby, the rain might just be water, but to someone who knows how to slow down, it is nature's symphony. A sincere smile can warm up an entire long day. A failure can transform into a precious lesson if we are calm enough to listen. Only by daring to open our hearts to every spectrum of emotion can we truly touch the rich beauty of existence. And above all, when I love, I will love with all my heart. True love is never a calculation of gains and losses, nor a series of suspicious loyalty tests. To love with all your heart is daring to give your absolute sincerity without letting the fear of being hurt dry up your soul. Whether that love is for family, friends, work, or a life ideal, when nurtured with devotion, it becomes a source of power that helps people transcend their own limitations. A meaningful life is not built by the number of years we exist, but by how we show up in every single moment. When you step with absolute determination. When you act with absolute responsibility. When you believe with all your hope. And when you love with all your heart. Because only when we live completely in everything we do can we look back on our lives without the haunting regret of having lived half-heartedly. You have to train your brain to be positive, just like you work out your body. Shawn Achor. People might train diligently to build a healthy body, yet they allow their thoughts to become frail, brittle, and easily dragged away by invisible currents of negativity. Positive thinking is not about denying pain or pretending that everything is perfectly fine. It is much like someone working out in a gym. They don't erase the weight, they learn how to lift it. Similarly, positive thinking doesn't erase hardships. It helps a person carry that hardship with a much sturdier perspective. When the mind is untrained, it reacts purely on instinct, magnifying problems, highlighting failures, and drowning in anxiety. But when trained properly, it learns to observe instead of reacting, to analyze instead of panicking, and to seek solutions instead of getting trapped in the problem. An untrained mind is like an abandoned garden. Any seed that falls can sprout both flowers and weeds alike. Negative thoughts, if left unchecked, will spread like weeds, choking out the light meant for positive ideas. Conversely, a well-tended mind is like a garden with a devoted gardener. Every day involves making choices, weeding out the toxic, and nurturing the wholesome. Positive thinking doesn't just spontaneously appear. It is the direct result of inner discipline. Training the brain is not an event that happens in a single day. It is a repetitive process, much like lifting weights, one rep at a time. Every time you choose not to sink into negativity, you are adding strength to your mind. Every time you choose to view a problem as a lesson rather than a death sentence, you are expanding your own capacity for endurance. And every time you strive to find a way forward, instead of giving up, you are constructing a much stronger version of yourself. Life will always contain things utterly beyond our control, but our response to those things belongs entirely to us. Two people can stand before the exact same storm. One sees only devastation, while the other sees an opportunity to learn how to rebuild. The difference doesn't lie in the circumstance itself, but in how the mind has been trained to interpret it. Training your brain is not about becoming a person who is always artificially cheerful. It is about becoming strong enough not to be defeated by your own thoughts. Just as the body needs movement to avoid weakening, the mind needs daily workouts so it won't be dominated by negativity. And when the mind becomes resilient, a person doesn't just think more positively, they live more freely, free from the confines created by their own untrained thoughts. Worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. Mark Twain. Humans suffer not only from what is currently happening, but also from things that may never even come to pass. Within our minds, we often unconsciously sign imaginary contracts where an unwritten future is assigned the worst-case scenarios, forcing our present to bear the emotional weight of things that do not yet exist. Worry is like standing in an empty room, hearing footsteps, and having no idea who is approaching. The mind immediately conjures a barrage of hypotheses: the worst thing, the darkest outcome, the greatest failure. But strangely enough, the vast majority of those footsteps never actually materialize into reality. We become exhausted, not because reality is too heavy, but because we continuously inhabit versions of the future that have never taken place. And thus, we prepay debts that life has not even asked for. Worry is not an entirely evil enemy. It is a defense mechanism, helping us anticipate danger and prepare for risks. But when that mechanism goes into overdrive, it transforms into a magnifying glass, turning minor possibilities into massive catastrophes. A simple problem spirals into a catastrophic chain reaction in our imagination. A slight delay is interpreted as the ultimate omen of failure, and an accidental moment of silence is taken as undeniable proof of abandonment. The mind, at that point, no longer reflects reality. It is actively creating an entirely different one, heavier, gloomier, and completely unnecessary. Worrying is like carrying a backpack full of rocks, yet every single rock was picked up from paths you've never even walked down. The one carrying it keeps walking, but every step becomes heavier, not because of the present, but because of an imagined future. The profound paradox is that, while trying to control things that haven't happened, we surrender the peace of what actually exists. There is a gentle yet powerful truth. Most of the things we worry about will never happen, and the things that do happen are rarely as terrifying as we envisioned. But when caught in the vortex of anxiety, the mind seldom believes that. It is like a person standing in the rain, terrified that a hurricane is coming, even though the sky hasn't even changed color. Learning to let go of worry is not about shutting down your thoughts. It's about learning to distinguish between what is actually happening and what is merely being conjured. It is the fine art of giving the future back to the future and giving the present back to yourself. When a person stops paying for non-existent debts, they begin to feel a profound sense of relief, a space where the mind is no longer dragged away by hypothetical scenarios, but is finally free to live in the only moment they truly possess, the right now. Every time we step out boldly to make changes, we take a chance that we might fail. But the only way to get better is to try. Joyce Meyer. Every time a person faces a change, They are essentially standing at the crossroads of their own self. One path is familiar, safe, yet limiting. The other is unknown, fraught with risk, yet opens up the possibility of tremendous growth. Failure has always cast a terrifying shadow in the human mind. It is like a shadow looming over the future, making us believe that one single misstep will cause everything to crumble. But if you observe more closely, failure is not the end of the line. It is simply a form of life's feedback. It doesn't declare that you aren't good enough. It just suggests that the path you're on isn't quite right. It's like a mountaineer slipping on a cliff. The slip doesn't erase the goal of conquering the summit. It merely points out where the footing was unstable. The paradox is that the more people crave progress, the more terrified they are of making mistakes. And it is exactly that fear that causes so many to choose to stand still. But standing still offers no absolute safety. It is merely the postponement of failure in another form, the failure to become a better version of oneself. Because time does not pause, and remaining unchanged is, in itself, a silent kind of change, a downward spiral. Every ounce of progress in the history of mankind began with the simple act of trying. No experiment guarantees success right out of the gate. A seed is given no promise that it will become a tree, yet it is planted in the soil anyway. A child does not know for sure that they will be able to walk, yet they stand up after every single fall. It is that sheer courage to try again, to keep trying, and to try despite imperfections that gives birth to evolution. We only truly mature when we accept that we cannot control the absolute outcome, but we can absolutely control our actions. Once we do, failure ceases to be an enemy and becomes a strict, demanding teacher. Every stumble is an adjustment to our cognitive system, much like a map being updated after taking a wrong turn. Stepping out of the comfort zone is not an act of blind recklessness, but a highly conscious choice, trading temporary certainty for the potential of lifelong growth. For if we never dare to try, we will never know just how far we could have gone. And if we refuse to accept the risk of failure, we will never touch the possibility of success. In the end, progress doesn't belong to the one who is never wrong. It belongs to the one courageous enough to begin, even when the outcome is completely unknown. Change the way you speak about yourself, and you can change your life. Joel Osteen. The words we speak about ourselves are not merely fleeting sounds. They are the very blueprints the mind uses to forge our identity. When a person constantly says, "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," or "I can't change," they are not just describing their present reality. They are actively planting seeds of limitation deep into their subconscious. Over time, those seeds sprout into beliefs, and those beliefs manifest into behaviors. Ultimately, people begin living out the exact scripts they have unconsciously repeated to themselves. When a person changes the way they speak about themselves, they are hacking into the deepest architecture of their cognition. I am learning how to do better. I can improve if I keep trying. I'm not great yet, but I am growing. These statements do not deny the struggle, but they wildly rip open the doors to development. It is akin to changing the course of a river. At first, there seems to be no difference, but over time, the current will carve out an entirely new path. We believe what is repeated. This makes our inner dialogue one of the most breathtakingly powerful tools for shaping a life. A negative self-affirmation is like an invisible wall, growing taller and thicker with every single reinforcement. Meanwhile, a positive yet grounded self-affirmation acts as a door slowly creaking open, allowing a person to behold possibilities they had never noticed before. The key isn't to deny reality, or brainwash oneself with delusions. It is about choosing a narrative that propels a person forward instead of keeping them trapped. Language doesn't just reflect thought, it molds it. When the way you speak about yourself shifts, the way you view challenges shifts alongside it. And when your perspective changes, your actions inevitably follow suit. It is like a person standing before a mirror. If the light is warped, the reflection will be warped. But once you adjust the lighting, the image becomes piercingly clear. The words you speak about yourself are that very light. They can obscure your true potential, or they can brilliantly illuminate the road ahead. Changing your life sometimes doesn't begin with massive leaps, but rather starts with tiny, quiet whispers, repeated every single day in the theater of the mind. When people learn to speak about themselves with stark honesty, completely unchained from negativity, they gradually rewrite the very script of their existence from a tragedy of limitations into an epic of endless possibility.